Are there any places in the world that you wish you could explore for yourself? What about mysterious villages where no one lives anymore? Where nature has reclaimed the streets and homes and buildings, and where the past is still lingering around every corner? Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, and today we're going to visit a place just like this. But first, we're gonna head over to the remote highlands of Romania to a village called Rasna Vale. Rasna Vale was a small, quiet village tucked away in a hidden valley in the Carpathian Mountains. From 1864, when it first appeared on maps, it had always been home to a small community of farmers and woodworkers who lived simple, isolated lives. But one day in October 1987, the village was abruptly removed from the maps, seemingly vanishing without a trace. This strange event baffled the locals and those who heard about it. What could have caused such a small community to simply disappear overnight? No one knew. The story remained a mystery for over 2 decades until November 1993, when a group of journalists from Bucharest decided to investigate this odd tale of a missing village. Today, we will take you through the investigation of these journalists and try to find answers to questions that may shock you. On November 23, 1993, a team of journalists and 2 photographers, all employees of the National Romanian Television Company, set out from Bucharest on a quest to uncover the truth behind the enigma of Rasna Vale. Led by experienced journalist Peter Cavaliu, also known as Mihai Plesko, the group embarked on a journey that would lead them to the heart of the mystery. Their first stop was the village of Arafu, situated between 2 mountain chains, from where they planned to follow the old mountain road into the valley. Little did they know that this journey would be fraught with eerie occurrences that would send shivers down their spines. As they ventured deeper into the mountains, the surroundings grew increasingly ominous. The air grew unnaturally still. No wind rustled through the trees, and the birds fell silent. An unsettling hush seemed to blanket the landscape, amplifying the sense of foreboding that had begun to settle over the group. As they continued their descent into the valley, the journalists noticed something that made the hairs on their necks stand on end. Crumbling stone houses lay in ruins, overgrown with thickets and wild weeds. The structures, which bore the marks of neglect and time, seemed to watch over them with an eerie silence, adding to the macabre atmosphere. The air carried a faint yet distinct smell of iron, mingled with the stench of decay. It was as though the very essence of the place was heavy with secrets best left undisturbed. Amongst the dilapidated houses, one structure stood out, a collapsed barn that seemed to hold a particularly dark secret. According to Mihai, one of the journalists, as they approached the barn, they felt an inexplicable pull, a sense of urgency that compelled them to investigate further. When they cautiously peered into the structure, what they saw inside sent a jolt of fear through their ranks. Faint handprints were etched into the walls as if someone or something had been trying to claw their way out from the inside. The discovery of the handprints added another layer of mystery to their eerie expedition, leaving them to wonder what kind of desperate struggle had taken place within that barn. By the time dusk settled over the valley, the team had reached the village square and decided to make camp for the night. It was here that the true horrors of Rasna Vale began to unfold, turning a simple camping trip into a terrifying ordeal. As darkness descended, the sounds of the forest took on a sinister tone. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig became a potential threat lurking in the shadows. But it was the whispers that truly chilled them to the bone. At first, the whispers were faint, like the soft murmur of a distant crowd. But as the night wore on, the voices grew louder, coalescing into a cacophony of unintelligible sounds. They couldn't understand the language, but the tone was undeniably menacing. It was as if the very essence of the valley was rising up to confront them. Fear began to grip the team, turning their investigation into a fight for survival, adding to the growing sense of dread. The whispers seemed to come from all directions, surrounding them in an auditory nightmare. Trapped in the center of the village square, the journalists huddled together, their flashlights casting feeble beams of light that did little to pierce the enveloping darkness. The forest around them seemed to press closer, its unseen inhabitants closing in. Then came the most horrifying part. One by one, the members of the team began to vanish. It was as if the whispers had claimed them, pulling them into the darkness and leaving behind only their terrified screams. The first to go was the sound engineer. One moment he was there, adjusting his equipment, and the next he was gone, vanished without a trace. Then the photographer disappeared. They searched the area frantically, their voices echoing in the darkness, but there was no sign of their missing companions. Mihai described how before each disappearance, he would see the victim's breath turn completely black in the cold night air. The realization dawned on him that they were facing something beyond comprehension, something that fed on human flesh, trapped in a nightmare. Mihai watched in horror as the cacophony of whispers grew louder, their unseen presence closing in on him. When the others didn't return, Mihai, being the resourceful journalist that he was, decided to stay put and wait for help to arrive. He stumbled upon a horrifying sight. His flashlight revealed the appalling sight of the missing team members lying motionless on the ground. Their faces were pale and lifeless, their eyes wide and staring. It was evident that they had been drained of their life force, their bodies mere husks of their former selves. Overcome with a mixture of grief and terror, Mihai realized that he was next. With a pounding heart, he fled deeper into the woods, desperately seeking refuge from the unseen predator that stalked him. The whispers echoed through the trees, urging him on, enjoying his fear. As dawn broke, Mihai stumbled out of the valley, haggard and bleeding, his body bearing deep scratches. Villagers from the nearby town of Argesti found him and rushed him to a hospital. When he regained consciousness, he recounted his harrowing experience, mentioning the strange black substance that covered the missing persons and the blood-colored whispers that haunted his nightmares. However, due to the lack of physical evidence and his traumatized state, the authorities were unable to launch a full-scale investigation. Many dismissed his story as the ravings of a madman, while others whispered about the supernatural forces at play in the cursed valley. Mihai, unable to cope with the trauma of his experience, was confined to an asylum where he spent his days staring blankly into space and reliving the horrors of Rasna Vale in his mind. To this day, no one knows what truly happened in that secluded valley. Some believe that the villagers, fearing eviction, orchestrated the disappearance of the journalists to prevent exposure of their illegal activities. Others blame sinister cults, citing the bizarre handprints and the victims' drained appearance as evidence of a horrifying ritual. The most frightening theory, however, points to a malevolent entity that lurks in the depths of Rasna Vale, preying on those who dare enter its domain. This chilling tale serves as a reminder of the darkest corners of our world, where reality blurs with the paranormal and fear takes on a life of its own. The village of Rasna Vale remains off-limits to this day, erased from official maps to hide its existence. Yet hikers sometimes report glimpsing flickering lights deep within the valley's fog or hearing the haunting laughter of children echoing from nowhere. For some, it may just be a figment of their imagination. But for others, it's a terrifying glimpse into another world. If you ever find yourself exploring the rugged beauty of the Romanian highlands, beware the whispers on the wind. They may just be calling your name. If you want to know more about similar creepy stories, click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Until next time, remember, some places are best left unexplored. Have a good one.